Delegation is the ability to hand over responsibilities and activities to other people on your team. But what I see very often is that delegation turns you, the business owner, into what effectively becomes a hub and spoke setup where nothing happens in your business unless somebody consults with you. And anytime there's a problem or need to make a decision, you're being consulted. And it feels like you're being pestered all the time, never able to get anyone else to make decisions. The trouble is, it's this way because you've trained them to think that way. Anytime your team have a question or anytime they feel like they need a decision, they're not going to take the responsibility for it because they know you've always done it in the past. And in fact, you prefer it that way. And yet it's having this negative outcome for you because if you're not around, the business is never going to work. Welcome to Summit Scale, where high-achieving owner-managers come to learn how to grow their small businesses into successful companies. So why aren't you delegating? There's typically a few reasons, so let's go over a few of them. It could be that the belief that your team cannot do the job as well as you can do it, or the belief that it takes less time for you to do the work than delegate. It might be a lack of trust that the team can do the work at the level you need. Sometimes we need to make ourselves feel indispensable. Other times it's rewarding, it's your business and you enjoy doing the work yourself. So delegation is handing off the baton and doing it in a way that the person who takes the baton from you has the appropriate authority, has the appropriate training in order to do the job at the level that you need. Now, one of the things that happens for a lot of people is that they get mixed up about what delegation is. And when they're delegating, what in fact they're doing is abdicating. They just simply hand over and they're not giving adequate support or training or feedback so that the person is actually able to develop and grow. So let's not confuse delegation for abdication. There is a system, a methodology to effective delegation, and it is through a series of questions that you should be asking. A lot of these you will already be doing subconsciously. A lot of times tasks are being delegated to the same person, but ultimately a well-delegated task is done in a way where it's clear what needs to be done, who's going to do it, and that you've deemed them capable of it, and they've agreed with you on that, why it matters and what will it look like when it's completed successfully. What are the resources? What tools do you need in order to get the job done? When does it need to be done by? And what support and feedback will be in place so they can know if they're on track or otherwise. The other thing about delegation is we often delegate with the same level of authority and don't realize that there's shades of grey in the amount of authority that you're going to give somebody when you delegate. So on one hand, you might be saying to the person, hey, do this exactly the way that I'm describing to you. And that's not the same as micromanaging. This is where you've deemed the team member's capabilities to be. This is the appropriate level of authority for where that person's at. And as you walk through the shades of grey, ultimately you get to a place where you and that person now agree that they can operate at the level and decide what action needs to be taken and manage the situation accordingly. It's their area of responsibility now. You know, there are many kinds of organizational models. The most common one, the one that we think about most, is kind of the rigid hierarchical bureaucracy or the military kind of style. But there are a lot of different styles, or kinds of styles. How you organize your team, your organization, so that doesn't have the hub and spoke model can look different depending on your business. You can choose the way that works best for your situation. It doesn't need to be that rigid bureaucracy we often see in many organizations. If you have any questions on this, book a complimentary 15-minute call with me at timewithshane.com. In those 15 minutes, we'll find out if you are good to go on your own or if you could use some help. I'm Shane Spears of Summit Scale. See you next time.